The most valuable sports card in history was never even supposed to exist, but now it's one of the smartest investments you can make. See, back in the early 1900s, the first baseball cards were actually produced by tobacco companies, who were trying to market their products to kids by including collectible trading cards of their favorite players inside of each pack. Now, for most players, they didn't see this as much of a problem. After all, they were getting paid by these tobacco companies to be included on the cards. But for Pittsburgh Pirates shortstop Honus Wagner, he didn't like the idea of advertising cigarettes to kids. So when he was approached by the American Tobacco Company in 1911 to be featured in their newest series of trading cards, Wagner wrote a letter back requesting that he not be included, and even sent them a $10 check for the trouble. However, upon receiving the letter, the American Tobacco Company decided that they were better off not cashing the check, and instead included Wagner in their series of cards stuffed into Sweet Corporal cigarette packs. Upon realizing this, Wagner demanded that his cards be taken out of circulation, but at that point, it was too late. The company had already printed about 60 cards with his face on them, instantly making them one of the most sought-after trading cards on the market. And by 1936, Wagner had become one of the first 5 people to be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, increasing the value of his card back then to $50, or about $1,200 in today's money. Now, since there are only 54 known Honus Wagner cards from this T206 series in circulation, that means they don't come up for auction very often. However, it does mean that buying this card is one of the safest investments you can make. For reference, this version of the card, known as the Connecticut Wagner, was first bought by a father-son duo in 1985 when an elderly man approached them and offered to sell them his 522 card collection for $10,000. And the Honus Wagner card found in this collection was then sold 15 years later at auction for $282,000. And then resold again to a private collector years later for an undisclosed amount. And even though the specific card only has a PSA rating of 1, it's still receiving bids for close to $3 million, meaning over the past 12 years, it's nearly double the returns you could have gotten on the stock market. Not bad for a piece of cardboard with a cigarette ad on the back.